And we'd like to welcome those of you who just watched St. John's take down Bucknell. We're in Houston with the #2 team in the nation, playing host to Ryder after the Broncs just got their first bucket. Here's Milos Uzan.
Well, one of the things about Houston is we see them starting to pick it up a little bit, shooting the basketball. You just can't give those guards the fresh looks, the open looks. If they get that going from the outside, they are always tough to beat.
Smith in deep.
Yeah, he was looking for a little defensive action on the block, not there.
Sharp will challenge and finish.
And Sharp is so good at pushing his shoulders towards the defender, especially when he gets a taller guy moving his feet. Really not a challenge defensively. Sharp just took one in the chin there from Smith accidentally.
Mohamed Diallo in the middle of this Ryder offense. McKay will rotate it, 6 to shoot. Diallo, lefty jump hook goes begging. Rebound coughed up by the Cougs.
You take a watch Sharp come to our right and bounces his left shoulder into the defender. You try to do that as a guard to neutralize the size, and you neutralize the size also by getting the big guy moving too and backing up a little bit.
Preseason all Big 12 pick.
He's a terrific player for Houston, Sharp. One of the guys, one of the vets who are going to lead this team. Great combination that they have, though, of the veterans and the young players that you touched on momentarily.
One of them here, Chris Sinak Jr. with his 7'4" wingspan defending the ball. Houston forces a turnover.
Yeah, you just can't put that ball on the floor like that from that distance.
Sharp got his defender lifted, no whistle. Weak side, Caleb Smith. And Houston takes it right back as Tugler digs it out. Sinak on the pick and pop, and it drops.
Well, when your big guy can step out like that and shoot it, no other choice but to talk things over if you're a Ryder.
There hasn't been much to pick at for the Houston Cougars so far. The perimeter shooting might be the thing. What a brilliant start.
Yeah, and wide open, too. Every single one of them really hasn't been a defender reacting quick enough. And that's something that they just really have to make an adjustment on.
5 of 7 from the floor. 3 of those 4 shots have come from behind the arc, have gone down. A sub 29% coming into this game already. A good development for Sampson and company. We asked him what he would like to see from his Cougs coming home tonight. He said, play like their hair's on fire. Literally nothing else.
They generally do.
That's right. And when they do, we know all the good things that come off of that, especially their defense and rebounding. Kevin Baggett at age 59 is the visiting head coach. His Broncs have just a win over Eastern University in Pennsylvania. They have 3 losses to Power 4 teams, Virginia, Rutgers, and Texas most recently.
And the early difficult schedule has to help them. 5-10 games down the road, you would think. But right now he knows he has his hands full. With a chance to speak with him earlier in the day. And he knows about their rebounding. He knows about Houston, the way they're relentless on the glass.
Right shots, not rush shots, is the way he plays.
Yeah, exactly. But they have a tendency to make you rush and play the way you don't want to play.
You have to spine them into the game off their bench.
Yeah, you have to be aggressive with the basketball to make things happen. But just look at the way they close on the perimeter. Somebody's got to help them out here.
Bynum sends it back to Flash Burton, and now they find Diallo. 4 left to shoot. Bynum gets a wing triple and grazes front iron.
And 4 white shirts around the glass, too, ready to rebound.
Uzan in attack mode. Throws it back to Tugler. He's isolated in the middle. Lefty jump hook pops out. He cleans up.
Yeah, that initial shot he has there, you just can't let him catch the ball right there because he's pretty talented when it comes to post up and in the lane play. And he's devastating on the offensive glass.
All 5 Houston starters have scored in the early going.
Even with a 15-2 lead, they play like it's a 2-0 lead.
Uzan off the deflection, finds the freshman, calls his own number and scores.
There's those turnovers that we talked about. You cannot turn the basketball over in the open floor.
Kingston Fleming's averaging more than 17 points per. Houston's leading scorer. Now Sharp takes a pop.
Yep, he sure did. He's going to sit this one out for a second or two, right across the bridge of the nose, I believe.
And Caleb Smith adding injury or insect his spot on the floor. Sharp with a bucket and 3 attempts in our first segment. And here's that Rider zone.
And it's one thing to find the shooters on the outside, and as soon as they go up, very important for 5 guys to hit the glass defensively.
Uzan from the elbow.
Well, that's the thing when you have vets on the floor, though. They recognize the defense pretty quickly, and then they analyze in a hurry how to go after it and find the weak spots.
Zion Cruz gets it back. 12 to shoot. No airspace in this Houston defense.
Got to go fast. Oh, he got hit too. Yep.
Shamani Fuller from the Bronx.
Yeah, when you get it there, you show either a good ball fake or you go quickly with it, because Houston will react very fast. And watch this dump down. They worked on this in the shoot around today. Nice little hesitation, finish it off. Got to challenge and go to the basket a little bit more. They're not getting many outside looks because of the pressure defense.
First foul on Tugler, and his early season foul trouble has been one of the discombobulating factors, along with some injuries that have kept Kelvin Sampson from maybe developing this team in the month of November as rapidly as he had hoped. This is Khalifa Sacco in to replace him. Also of note, Isaiah Harwell, part of this star-studded recruiting class, is ill tonight and will not play. So we've already highlighted 2 of the big 3 freshmen. He's the other,
right,
and will not go.
A good little answer there by Rider to get back in this down 11. Let's see if Houston can find the middle of the floor against this zone. Here we go again.
Now, Sacco set the screen. He was the MVP, according to his head coach, of that win in Auburn, particularly his defense in crunch time. This man, Uzan, drained a 3 and a big spot against Auburn. The shot of the game, then had some clutch defense as well. Miller, spot up 3. Had to beat the clock, and Williams claims the rebound.
Yeah, that's the way to get back into the fray there, rebounding the basketball.
Yep. The live ball turnover for Rider. Fleming's with his eyes up.
Yeah, they spread the floor very well in their fast breaks.
Miller cutting off the heel. Offensive rebound, Chase McCarty. New possession for Houston, Uzan.
Oh boy, look at them go to work.
How about a 3rd crack at it with Fleming's here. Good eyes opposite. Nice. Extra pass, Uzan. Everything but the bucket on this trip for Houston.
Pretty good looking offensive set though, wasn't it?
No shortage of looks. Davis Bynum off front iron and will stay at this end. Our officials, Doug Sermons, Jeffrey Anderson, who called that foul, and Justin Shamian. Let's check in with Nabil.
Hi guys, we've been talking about turnovers for Rider, and it's been a major problem for them all season. They're averaging just under 14 per game. And according to Coach Baggett, these mistakes are coming at the most inopportune times. Case in point, against Texas in their last game, they had multiple turnovers late in the first half and right out of the break. That helped fuel a 25-0 Longhorn run, which essentially sealed the game. So a lot of these turnovers, like we've seen today, live ball turnovers, they're playing with fire against elite teams like this.
Nabil Kareem, thank you very much.
And they know that too. Good point.
Illegal screen will send it the other way. Shamani Fuller with his palms to the sky.
Yeah, let's see if he's moving a little bit. You see that left leg right there? The left leg slides out. What you need to do if you're setting a screen, he was moving the touch, but that left leg has to stay pretty much right up the body line to your shoulder. So as soon as you put that out there, the officials are going to call that every single time.
What a lift this could be for a team that has not shot it well from 3 in the month of November. Chase McCarty off to the coldest start, and a below-the-break 3 to maybe spark his entire season.
Yeah, is it fair that Houston's going to shoot the 3 ball this well?
4 of their first 8 against Rider. Cruz, well, they made a miss again. Milos Uzan over to Sharp. He's back. And he's strong. 1 for 4 now from the floor.
Here we go.
To the rim. And the finish.
Real good look on the break just then. Pushing the ball down the floor.
Devin Williams is a senior from LA.
Yeah, once in a while you can run out on Houston if they send that many guys for the offensive glass. And Sharp was shooting there. The balance has to be there by the off guard.
Sharp with 10 to shoot. Gets it right back from his big. On the switch, step back 3, and it was left all the way.
Yeah, that's a tough shot.
No reset, and that won't fall either.
Yeah, it's going to go the other way.
Sacco over the back.
Yeah, it sure is. And that no better guy with the footwork, although there's a guy sitting next to us about 3 seats away named Elvin Hayes, who wasn't bad at it also for Houston. So pretty good talent.
You were really excited to shake his hand tonight, weren't you?
The Big E.
Zion Cruz makes the extra pass, and Devin Williams getting a lot of early burn here. Misses that 3, and a foul on number 3, Fuller. Let's see where Houston goes here offensively, Jim. They started 8 of 11 from the floor, but only 1 of 8 since, and 7 of those 8 tries have been from 3-point range.
Well, it's the matchup. The best way to see what a matchup is, you'll see guys point to the next guy in line defensively to take a man who's cutting. So pretty straightforward. They broke down in the corner just then, though.
McCarty hit his first, has not delivered since. Post to post, and there they scored inside.
Once again,
McCarty.
Once again, those offensive rebounds, giving them second opportunities. And as I've touched on already, blocking out in a zone is very, very difficult, especially if you miss an assignment in the corner. That means a couple of guys are out of rhythm.
Cruz pushed all the way out to the midcourt stripe. Smith left alone in the mid-range. 1 and done for Ryder.
Yeah, that's the shot they have to hit when they get those good open looks, because they are being pressured out front.
Sharp in attack mode. Too strong, pulled down by Smith. Bronx on the counter.
Sharp has taken a couple of hits so far tonight.
There it is for the Bronx. Devin Williams making his impact felt more than he has all season.
A good reaction too, with Sharp down, getting bounced to the floor. They had a 5-on-4. They spread the floor very nicely that trip.
Sharp probing, distributing. Sacco sends it back to the perimeter. Mercy Miller, bam! It's a 2. Now fighting over defensively. Checks it away. Miller a bucket, now a steal, running with Flemings. Trail 3. Sharp makes the extra pass instead. Perhaps too unselfish. Cruz puts the pedal down and coasts in for the layup.
Nice work there by Cruz. I love the way he just looked off the second defender just then. He knew he had to get by the initial guy and was very aware of the second guy who usually gets the block on the run.
The returning starter was 3rd on last year's team in scoring. Miller goes to work off the bounce. Scoops it up and in.
Quickest way to get it to the glass, too, when you're on that left side as a right-handed player. Shoot it underhand. Instead of turning the ball over, you get it to the glass that much faster.
He's got 2 hoops in this segment. Houston still shooting 50% from the floor despite their droughts. A pass to nowhere, leads to a 2-on-1. Flemings shields the defender and scores. He wanted the and one. The official said, careful, I could have called that on you.
Exactly, the arm came up a touch, but they are really pressuring when Ryder kind of just doesn't make a sharp move out front. The double teams come in a hurry, like right there, and now you're stuck with the basketball and almost another steal going the other way.
Caleb Smith using his jab step. Can't get anywhere around Flemings. Burton has to hoist.
Yeah, and then you get into trouble, and the first pass with 7 seconds left on the shot clock is not going to happen.
Flemings rise and fire. He is electric.
Are we sure he's a freshman? There's a grab from behind Miller. I mean, he goes to that in with the way Sharp took 2 shots to the face tonight already.
Four days of college hoops action. End of the Palm Springs Lights. The Acrisure series concludes November 28th on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Caleb Smith at the line. He's their leading rebounder and foul shooter. Gets to the line for about a third of that team's free throws.
Here comes the matchup defense again. Don't let him break you down off the dribble. Good hands.
Kingston Fleming's back to work. What a find. Freshman to freshman. Sanak gets the layup.
Interesting little move there by Sanak, too, to get to a spot where he could be found for an easy layup.
Paul McCabe with the basketball in the half court for Ryder. Bronx go big with Diallo. Off to McNeil. 10 left.
Yeah, see, when you start dribbling away from the basket against Houston, they just love that. Takes time off the clock, and then you have to start to pressure yourself to shoot the ball.
Jameer McNeil did well just to draw iron. McCabe scrapping for an offensive board. Now Caleb Smith denied. Joe Tugler says, how about no?
Yeah, they get bigger and bigger the closer you get to the basket. Tugler just hanging around just then. Well timed here in the third opportunity. Nice hands, deflection.
Sanak. A 3-level score.
Had a pretty good game against Auburn himself, didn't he, with 18?
But his coach said he gave up 16, so only net 2.
Okay.
A deflection here.
You gotta love Kelvin Sampson.
He said there was a laundry list of things he thought they were poor at. Nobody celebrating anything here in Houston. The film shows how far away they are.
And that's why they get better and better as the year progresses. He's a great coach, and he understands. He won't admit to you that, you know, early on the year he's not expecting everything to be perfect right now, but he knows he has to stay with the fundamentals the whole way. Tough right there.
Caleb Smith misses the easiest look he'll get all night here in Houston. Manuel Sharp off the crossover, sprays it out to the hot hand Sanak. Turned down the 3 and ended up turning it over. Good ball movement from Ryder. Stripped away from Diallo.
I think they're going to get Diallo, though, on the second effort there.
Now, he joined the program late in the summer. He's still ramping up to this level and to the Ryder system.
Pretty good work on the offensive glass, but the strip there got him into trouble. And then he gets called for that push. At that last turnover there on the other end, I happened to look over at Kelvin Sampson. He just shaking his head. Like, how can you throw that one away? They're looking for the post-up. They got some size on the blocks if they want to go to it. The Tugler down there.
Fleming's on the rip-through drive. Finds the slot shooter, Uzan. Might have been too open. Last touch by Sanak.
You would think there'd be opportunities to run out, right, with the way Houston crashes the boards. Problem is you don't get many of those defensive opportunities because they're so good at gathering them in and putting them back and making things happen on a second and third chance.
Well, you have to commit all 5 bodies to your defensive board, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time Cruz looks up, there's single digits to shoot in the half court.
Great point.
Bynum pinned. An air ball from the newcomer, the German Helterhoff.
Hey, that ball just slipped right out of his hands.
Sharp from the concourse. Ripcord.
You make those mistakes, and they really understand how to make you pay for them. Nothing fancy, just straight up man-to-man defense and challenging everything.
I don't know if Sinak blocked that one, but he definitely altered it.
This is a very unselfish team, too. And when you have shooters, they know that if you're open, they'll get the basketball because they're going to give it up, too. A terrific understanding how to play and spread the floor.
Houston on a 7-0 burst. They've made 7 of their last 8 shots from the floor. They continue to substitute aggressively with Saka returning.
13 assists on their 17 buckets made.
Jim, as Sinak gets a seat, he and Fleming have combined to go 8 of 8 from the floor. They've scored 19 points. They were the big story of the first half and win over Auburn again here tonight.
And they're the youngsters. Look at the pressure, the double teams. Nice look. Get rid of it and shoot it.
Williams opposite for 3.
Yeah, it's good work by Ryder just then. Find the middle of the floor if you're double teamed. Help your partner out over in the corner and then release it to the other end. They just will not, as good as Houston is getting across the floor, they will not get to that shot.
Cougs doubling up the Bronx, and Fleming still can't miss.
Great understanding of when to go with it, with the combination of shooting the ball from the outside.
Daniel Helterhoff looking to find the backdoor cutter Smith, and timeout us with
young man. He said the best advice he's received so far is to stay humble. What happened yesterday does not mean anything today. I asked him if there was a specific area of his game that he's still kind of a work in progress at this level. He said ball security. Too many of his turnovers are self-inflicted. He knows he's got to change that as the season moves on. He's been better in that category today, 0 turnovers. He also believes toughness is a learned skill. It's a mindset he's working on day in and day out here in Houston, really buying into the philosophy set by Coach Sampson, guys.
Thanks to Bill. And as I see Ramon Walker Jr. on the floor for the first time, number 3 in the far corner. Now, it's a reminder that Walker and Sharp guarded Fleming throughout the entire offseason program. That had to have sharpened his iron.
Absolutely. And the toughness just goes along with Houston. If you don't have it, you're going to have it quicker than you ever thought playing with this program.
Zion Cruz dribbles into a triple.
That's one they needed right there, just to slow Houston down a little bit. Because keep in mind, you know, with the clock right now, it's 2:35-ish or so. They can really score in buckets if you're not with it.
It's a great look by Uzan to feed the corner. Chase McCarty couldn't hit it.
So here he comes off that exchange out front. Nice pull-up jump shot with the rotation on it. Cruz has to get himself going. He's one of the leaders on this team, along with Burton, who hasn't scored as of yet.
It's a tough spot for them, right? Because they're trying to keep their team connected, but their charge tonight and in this non-conference is to bring other Bronx along with them, Jim.
Yeah, sometimes they may have to just step it up a little bit more and take control of their offense a little bit more and make some quicker decisions against this Houston defense.
Uzan, a great example of Houston's culture and retention. Able to find Walker. Now Miller. 6 to shoot.
I'm not sure that was a pass or not. That's squeezed out of his hands. Or they step on the out of bounds, I guess. Not one of Houston's better sets right there.
4th turnover of the opening half. They're shooting at a 56% clip. Cruz goes to the post. Wow. Double from the baseline and an offensive foul. Chase McCarty gave up the body.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. He got the call, but I think he just ran into the offensive player on that one. It looked like it could have been a charge, but I think that was just a run over.
I think he's fortunate that Helterhoff is 240 pounds.
He's holding the chest a little bit.
Milo seeing two defenders, rotates it through Miller. There's Ramon Walker Jr. off iron on his pass. Miller tried to save it. It's in the hands of Burton. Cole McCabe, he's been so good from the three-point line this month.
And I love the way he just set that little right-handed jump hook shot up, because he bounced it twice getting to the middle of the floor. Well defended, too.
Stepping into a starting role now as his sophomore after contributing off the bench in his debut campaign. Miller gets to his shot and buries it.
They don't take many bad shots, Houston. One of the things they do, they're smart, they're learning. The young guys are learning how to play with the older guys, but the consistency is there with the shot selection.
It's tough to find shots for Miller last season behind that backcourt. Same story this season, but he's picking his moments well. Wow. Caleb Smith still can't find it, and who can blame him?
Yeah, the closure just then. Three guys. And Walker gave up that shot initially. Could have taken it a second time. They get the last shot of the half. They won it.
They have not trailed in this session. They're shooting 58% from the floor. Sinak to the corner. Tough catch from McCarty, and he sticks it at the horn. The seventh made three of the half for the Houston Cougars. Perfect 9 for 9 in those first 20 minutes.
And the one thing to look for Houston right now, and Ryder has to be ready for this, even though they're up as much as they are right now, they don't play like they're up 22. They play like it's, again, a 2-point game.
Jim, they play like their minutes are at stake, like someone's going to come get them.
That's a pretty good way to set the tone, though, if you're the coach.
Tugler on the face-up, lowers that shoulder and scores it. Hits the deck in the process.
Yeah, just so strong when he takes it to the basket with his size. Really bounces people around.
He's described as one of one, unique in a very good way by his head coach. Let's see what Nabil's been up to. Nabil, you got us. What'd you learn at halftime?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Baggett at half, and his message was pretty clear. He said, listen, we got to be tougher. We got to be tougher than our opponent, and that means rebounding. That means blocking out, taking it hard to the hoop, playing off 2 feet, playing through guys, and then he just reiterated, listen, we just got to be tougher.
Well, that's a great point, and one thing about Houston is they will get tougher, too, if they need to. So it's a great point, though, in terms of what the coach has to do and try to emphasize to his players. And he knows down the road these types of games are going to help him. Playing Texas the other night, playing Houston here, they'll help his team 5, 7, 8 games down the road, but getting through this is difficult.
Now, league play begins in early December for the Bronx, and the MAC there picks 10th out of 13. Quinnipiac the favorite there. Last year, Mount St. Mary's defeated Iona in the championship game in that league. This time with the left, Tugler misses.
Look at them go after the offensive glass, though.
Sharp. Not this time.
Oh, that's going to be over the back.
Good block out by McCabe. Ryder building its budget on the road, as so many mid-majors do. At Virginia, at Rutgers, at Texas, and now at Houston.
And all but the Rutgers game are true road trips for them.
Tugler just picked up his 3rd foul. Our officials clarifying something at the table. A technical somewhere. Judging by Baggett's body language, that must be the case. So the first foul shot of the night belongs to Emmanuel Sharp, and it comes off the technical. Sharp tonight well on his way to his 100th career win as a Coug. When Houston wraps this up, he'll be 112.
Not too shabby, huh?
That man has a lot to do with it, of course, and he deflected, you know, the praise to his staff, Kellen Sampson and Casey Beard and Mikey Connell. He says that's our secret sauce, is our staff.
Well, he's pretty good also. I like the way he deflects everything, the attention.
By the way, the rich get richer. They have the #1 center in this class. We've talked about him, Chris Sanak Jr. They also added the #1 center in next year's class. Arifan Diani will be a Coug next year. Zion Cruz waits for the ball screen. Blitzed by 2 defenders, finds Burton. This is the skip over to McCabe.
Yeah, the skip passes are great, but they have to be quicker than that.
Cruz could not hit it, and then there's Sanak to clear his defensive board.
Pretty good balance pretty much all night by Ryder getting back quickly, but they just relentless on the second wave.
Sanak from the corner, a contested 3, and he pours it in. He's into double figures.
At his size, he shoots it as if he's like a guard out there.
Now 4 for 4 from the floor with a couple of triples. Cruz exploring off the bounce, was fortunate to find Fuller, and he's going to the line.
Here's the 6'11" Frosh, just letting it rip from long range. Nice and smooth.
December 1st, the HBO Max original hit The Pick comes to TNT. Experience the Emmy award-winning first season. It's Mondays on TNT. Only the 4th foul shot of the game for the Bronx, so it's been a low fouling affair. The Bronx, who were once known as the Rough Riders, became the Broncos ever so briefly, some 70 years ago, thanks to a local newspaper headline. It was truncated to Bronx and has been that way ever since. The first miss for either freshman tonight. Kingston Fleming from the mid-range. Pass deflected and stolen on the block by Tugler. Milos, Suzanne. Whistle blows, bucket goes, and Houston's pouring it on.
Sanak with a nice running screen just then, taking people down the middle of the floor. Watch him, number 5. He gets out of the way there, but he took a few guys, got in their way. Did not allow anybody to get a hand on him coming down the middle of the floor until the shot was put up.
Milos may have tested the NBA waters, Jim, but not the transfer portal. And I think that tells you everything about this Houston program.
Well, he can sense what they have. Doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is a quality team early in the year, with the thoughts of really making another good run, as they've had so many times with Kelvin Sampson teams.
Some unfinished business from his vantage point.
Exactly.
McCabe makes the extra pass. Williams, great find. Shamani Fuller, the recipient.
Yeah, one of the few times they got used to the shift from one side of the floor to the other. Good attack, too, by Ryder just then.
And gets it back from Tugler. A little 2-man game. Soft jump hook goes. JoJo Tugler.
You know, seeing Kelvin Sampson clapping over there for that little pass to the middle of the floor, but he wants to get Tugler untracked a little bit, get him some looks, get him some easier shots. Look at the way they come out, the double team, too.
He's the reigning Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, adding some offense to a very productive night, shooting the basketball for the Cougars. Low percentage shot there. Tugler somehow scrapped for that rebound. 3 on 2.
Right down the middle of the floor, they had him.
Sanak able to finish with the left.
One of the things that Kelvin Sampson prides himself on in his teams are obviously defense, but the unselfish play. You never really see guys hunting down shots.
So when you see 16 assists on 25 made field goals, Jim, he hunted one.
Yeah, there was a hunt right there. It might be time there. I was going to say it might be time to call off the... They know when they come here, this is the way they play. So I don't think he has any secrets. And if you don't want to come and play the Houston way, then don't come. And I think he's okay with that if you don't come. But he seems to get his fair share of pretty good players. And then they get better.
You see that self-selecting standard in the roster they have here in front of us tonight?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, when you see the way they look at the way they're playing right now with this big league, I think that's Kelvin Sampson's, stamp on these guys, the way they're playing right now. And they know that if they take a play off, especially defensively, he's got a seat over there for them.
And he stressed to us, they don't just recruit great players, great young men, but great families that they come from. And that really helps them be prepared for the culture here. Uzan back to Sharp again. Blistering hot. Houston keeps hitting. First time this season that they've drained double-digit threes.
And I think you're going to see that a few times this year.
They're so efficient shooting the basketball last year. Just feel that that's around the corner for this team, especially driven by this phenom.
Nice
bounce pass. Everything but the highlight.
Yeah, nice work by Cruz there, getting back in a hurry. Oh, here we go.
Sharp shoots the gap and wins the race. $15 for Sharp to take over the scoring lead.
See, as you watch them play, especially defensively, they just don't know any other way than to just play it aggressively. Never taking a play off. They're helping one another. There we go with a floater. That's going to get picked off. Oh.
Steal number 10 for Flemings and this Houston defense. They're dominating the second half of the two.
Those are good looks. He told me the guys are in the lab every day putting in the work on those exact same looks. He said the results will follow. And guys, he is right. 10 for 21 in this game.
Nabil Kareem from our sideline. Uzan thought about it, spins off the block. Still 10 to shoot in the half court. Mercy Miller earns 2.
We saw him in the first half do the same thing. Look for his corner shot, but when he was contested, put the ball on the floor.
Career 3-point field goals made among active players coming into tonight. Over 220 for Manuel Sharp. A sophomore from Sherman Oaks, California, Mercy Miller at the strike. Saturday, directly before the massive AEW Full Gear event, don't miss the kickoff action with AEW's Tailgate Brawl. Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT and HBO Max. Seven unanswered for Houston in 14 of the last 16. McNeil dead on the dribble, needs help late in the clock. Caleb Smith has been unable to get off the floor tonight. Watch out. Maybe some free throws can spark a late rally for a player who's averaging 9 points and 8 rebounds per game. Smith, who was a community college teammate with now fellow Bronc Zion Cruz a couple seasons ago.
He's one of the guys who gets to the line for this Rider team also. About a third of the free throw attempts come from him. So a very active player, but this has been a grind all night long for them. With his number of free throws just not getting many attempts.
Only 8 points since the half for the visitors from New Jersey. Uzan takes the long way around and gets wiped away at the rim by Bynum. Smith pulls in transition. A contested three goes begging. And Khalifa Sacco touched it while standing out of bounds.
Well, defensively, good run back here by Rider to get into play again, as you mentioned. Looking at Bynum go after it. He'll retain the possession down the other end off Houston.
Sacco dealt with some back discomfort early in the season. In fact, he wasn't really working with the team from June until about the end of October. They're trying to play him into game shape and trying to do so fairly urgently. Got 16 minutes against Auburn most recently. But as of now, still only about 70% the coaching staff estimates of full health for Khalifa Sacco. Zion Cruz in the middle of the floor with McCarty defending. Miss from the mid-range.
Wow.
Snatched down emphatically by Tugler.
Tugler really goes after it. And I said this to you during one of the breaks before, but Clemens really shows me little signs of Derrick Rose out there.
I'll follow up on that as Koulibaly gets out in transition. Tipped up and in by Cruz. All right, Derrick Rose, because
he's just got a glide to him like Derrick Rose does. You know, Derrick Rose was one of the best at really breaking people down and jump stopping and twisting and turning in the lane, but he just gives me an air of him a little bit, the way he carries himself.
Bynum at both ends, the block and now the bucket. This is what constitutes a lull for Houston basketball. 6 unanswered for Rider. Without a field goal, Houston for 2.5 minutes. They play through Tugler, spinning away from that second defender, and he hooks it in with the right.
Yeah, being able to go both ways. An improvement there with that right hand. And I think if they really start to emphasize him on the blocks, and I think that's what Kelvin Sampson wants to do, is to make sure he gets enough points in the paint and looks with this team rather than just relying on the outside shooting. Because there are going to be nights when that disappears on you. Whoa.
McCarty going to the floor for Houston. Tangled up with Davis Bynum. And so we'll pause here at the midway point of the second half with Houston over Riders 73-37. A wire victory after a foul on McCarty. The Bronx will throw it in with 10:16 remaining. Mohamed Diallo with the catch coming in, and he traveled.
Yep, he did drag the foot.
He was a fill for a late need in the middle of the lane for this Rider program. Got in over the summer. He's been at 4 schools already.
I see how they're going to the post to get him untracked a little bit.
I like the point you made about playing through Tugler a little bit.
Yeah.
Not just relying on what's been a great 3-point arc so far tonight, but the more you feed him, the more inside outlooks you're going to get from that line.
No question about it. And you want him to be able to establish himself down in the paint. Nothing wrong with getting points in the paint.
A.B. Koulibaly is in the game for the visitors as Cruz rises from the mid-range. Checkouts all around, and the rebound claimed by Walker.
Yeah, the jumpers have been contested pretty regularly by Houston.
Another trip with a post touch. This one kicked out. Nearly 3 turnovers per game so far for the junior, JoJo Tugler. We're seeing that second defender as soon as he crosses the timeline. Williams initiates the half-court offense. Whoa. Helterhoff lost his footing and the basketball. Flemings hesitates, then hits the Jets.
Yeah, that's that second gear that he has. He lulls you to sleep a little bit on his way down the floor, then knows exactly when to start to put the burners on, especially when he gets about 10 feet away where he can attack and get there with one dribble.
He's got an easy 16 points on only 8 shots. He leads all scorers. Smith got behind him here. I think that was altered by Tugler at the last moment.
It looked like a wide open layup, and then 3 Cougars went after it.
Walker tees up a triple. Miller came away with that offensive rebound and said over to the Bronx.
Here's that little delay, and then he goes right by the big guy. He gets the big guy kind of standing up straight, trying to guard him on the open floor. That's just not going to work.
So the last Big 12 freshman with 69 points and at least 21 assists in their first 4 games, Trey Young for Oklahoma in 2017. What type of company he's in with his debut November.
Pretty good name right there, isn't it? Just can't get anything untracked for Ryder. Perimeter defense is just really, really aggressive and tight, and then they back out. I love the way they go after the double team when you back out. You gotta shoot it.
Antoine Wilson.
That's a push.
Daniel Helterhoff's foul sends us to a break. 7:56.
Really go deeper into his bench.
Well, their depth already on display, and that's without Isaiah Harwell tonight. Also without Jacob McFarland. He's still targeting a winter return. No Cordell Jefferson either. Here's Chase McCarty. He dialed it in from 3-point range back in the first half. Another positive indicator for Houston. To be fair, I should point out that Ryder is also without its best shooter as Cruz goes to work. Should I attempt this pronunciation, Jim?
Go
Stand
for
by. Lithuanian Kristupas Kapazinskas.
I beg your pardon?
They call him KK, and for the rest of tonight,
right,
we will as
call
well.
him KK.
I wanted Kristupas to play tonight, I really did, but the degree of difficulty on the pronunciation guide dipped significantly when he was ruled out with an injury.
You're a glutton for punishment, I guess.
Well, he and Jameer McNeil are kind of the 2-man freshman backcourt that Ryder recruited. And part of that is to get players like Flash Burton and Zion Cruz off the ball more. But there, we've done our due diligence. Khalifa Sacco, a much easier pronunciation for Sampson in Houston.
I know I've mentioned this already tonight, but the sign of a really good quality team is when you're up a ton like this, you just don't let up on the defense.
Right on cue, Tugler gets another block and a whistle.
And of course, Coach Sampson's yelling at them to grab the ball after you block it. Right there, he's telling his guys to grab it. Nobody's grabbing it for him.
Tugler contributing to a season-high 7-block effort for this defense thus far, with 6.5 to play. I've seen Ryder at the foul line. I'm reminded that they were conceding over 30 foul shots per game. 10th most nationally coming into tonight. If nothing else, they've kept the Cougs off the line. Houston 5 for 5.
Yeah, surprisingly, not the fouls are really down in the way Houston would play. You would think that they would foul more as a team, but they do not. They're so well coached and schooled at the defensive end.
Tugler gets to that left shoulder again.
The one-on-one, you really need to run somebody at him. It's just unfair to leave somebody on the blocks and have him just jump over you. That might go the other way.
I put the foul on Cruz. That's his first. Only foul trouble to speak of belongs to Tugler. He's playing with 4. But he scored 10 points in this second half alone. Able to pass out of that early double. Houston couldn't hit a 3, but he's got an offensive board. Ramon Walker Jr. also off the mark. Tipped out by McCarty, and we're going the other way. Antoine Wilson in the game and helping Ryder rotate. They get it back in the hands of Cruz, a senior from Trenton, New Jersey. Checked by a freshman, Kingston Flemings.
Just nothing easy. The staple. See the way he glides up and down the floor.
Rose used to do a lot of that.
Rose, he looks a little like Derrick Rose to me. His understanding of when to kind of burst to the basket too.
18 points on 10 shots, no free throws. Hyper efficient.
There's that double team.
Deflected in the backcourt so Cruz can play it. He's got 5 left on the timer. What a board. Chase McCarty at 6'5", soaring to get out in transition. Ramon Walker Jr. with some English.
Well, McCarty has some hops. There's no question about that.
To the year in this conference. Well, the crowd is calling for Big Ced. They want Cedric Locke, a junior from the Ivory Coast, and his moment can't be far away.
Just checked in, actually.
Number 8 and wide at the elbow. Screening for Mercy Miller, able to get to his spot and connect.
Yeah, interesting enough, too, the student body behind us. Every time Flemings touches the ball, they're chanting MVP. It's a little early for MVP of the year, isn't it?
Reigning conference and national player of the week still on the floor with less than 4 to go. Caleb Smith on the step back, and he rattles that in. Only his 3rd made field goal of the night.
Well, those 11 tries, but each of those were contested, so finally getting 1 to go. A little pull-up. With Kelvin Sampson on the far side over there, still working.
Miller again, feeling it, filling it up. Mercy Miller. A dozen for him to add to the scoring lead.
Mercy is an appropriate word, I think, isn't it?
Either that or uncle, right? That's all that's left for Ryder. Bynum, not on this trip. All Cougs there for the rebound. Ramon Walker Jr. claims it.
Some nights the biggest challenge off the defensive glass is their teammates.
A timeout called here to get Khalifa Sacco into the game, and we'll take it with him with 2:38 to the finish line in Houston. That's what I love about the way these teams are scheduling these days, right? You get some November tilts.
Yeah, years and years ago, you'd spend the first 10 games of your schedule playing the cupcake schedule. You know, you'd win every game by 40, 30, 40 points. Fabulous change in college basketball, the way they changed that scheduling around.
Whoa. Now, there are still some bye games, and this is a good example because, you know, a non-neutral road game, let's say.
Not 100% foolproof.
You go and challenge yourself against Auburn, come out victorious. You regroup at home, week of practice, and then you go to Vegas to face tournament-level competition. We invite you to catch the U.S. women's national team in action next Friday as they take on Italy. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT and HBO Max. Walker in the box score officially now for the season. His first free throw as well.
Five guys with double-figure scoring tonight for Houston. 2 with 8. So really very good balance.
With only a couple of possessions left. The total is 43 for Ryder, and the shooting percentage 31. For those who track Houston's defensive stats like us closely. Antoine Wilson cut off on the baseline, missed it all. Miller's there, but could not corral it. No reset, 8 left to shoot for Ryder. Does Fuller know that? Does McNeil know that? Williams does. And they'll let them play on. A near shot clock violation.
And Kelvin Sampson has gone as deep to his bench as he can right now. I don't think there's anybody else really that he can turn to. But they do play hard. Everybody who comes off the bench.
Miller off the shot fake and the double clutch. McNeil on the move. Skip to Wilson. And they rip it out again.
Yep, off his foot.
Walker running with Miller in transition.
Nice unselfish pass.
Closing minute here at Fertitta Center. It's been all Cougs on their way to a wire-to-wire victory. A 5-0 start and 23 wins in their last 24 outings dating back to last season. Miller nearly had the finishing touch. Walker on the pull-up. Wow.
Still 3 Cougars on the offensive glass with less than a minute to go.
Well, Bynum's heading home with a bucket. And the shot clock turned off. Houston can dribble this out. A 91-45 score. They shoot 56% from the floor. They knock down 10 threes for the first time this season. 18 more for Flemings, the sensational freshman class, with a dozen behind him. Sinek. Jim, your final thoughts?
Well, it's typical Houston basketball. Ryder knew what they were coming down here to get into a real tussle with Kelvin